This is my fifth budget now, and I said a lot of comments the other day in the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee, and Senator O'Scanlan hit on an important substantive multitude of problems with this budget in his speech. He made fantastic points about how this budget is setting up our state for major problems down the road, and I won't belabor what he had to say. But I do want to touch on a major concern I have, and that is the lack of transparency. The governor proposed about 50 special line items for inclusion in the budget back in February. These are items that go to named beneficiaries outside of any open, fair, or reasonable process with merit-based decisions. For example, he proposed $850,000 to buy a parking lot in one town, $5 million extra for one specific county college, and a pair of $8.5 million items for one county to advance projects. The governor never provided an explanation of any of these line items, and his cabinet professed ignorance about what they were for or how the money would be spent when questioned during the budget process. Senator Sarlo, who's the chairman of the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee, to his great credit, fairly gave my colleagues and I great latitude to press the administration for answers about how the money would be spent. But we never received any explanations from the governor or his administration that proposed them. Those 50 pieces of pork, maybe better called Murphy's mystery meat, are in the final budget. No one seems to know anything about them. But on top of these special line items, 400 new or increased special line items were included in the budget we are now currently voting on. These 400 items include special funding for about 100 municipalities, 10 counties, and 35 school districts, all outside of any fair or balanced process, while school aid and municipal aid is being cut, and in some places cut dramatically. My Republican colleagues and I publicly released through written explanations and justifications for every item we requested to be included in the budget. Each of our members is prepared to stand by the requests and explain them fully. Sound Senate rules, first put in place 20 years ago by Senator Cody, Governor Cody, actually require public explanations so people know what is being voted on. So to the extent that a few of these items were proposed by my colleagues on this side of the aisle, written explanations identifying the sponsors exist for anyone and everyone to see. But there are no explanations whatsoever for the 400 or so special line items that none even knew existed until approximately 36 hours ago. That flies in the face of transparency and accountability, and it flies in the face of Senator Governor Cody's transparency rule. Last week, a reporter wrote an article about how some of last year's special line items were spent. She wrote about a $4 million tiki bar that had been listed in the budget simply as a marina improvement. She wrote about some other eye-opening projects. I'll bet my last dollar that very few people in this very chamber knew they were voting for that tiki bar or some of the other expenses in prior years. The people of New Jersey, and specifically members of this body, ought to be told how their money is proposed to be spent before we vote on a budget bill. That's the only way appropriate vetting of the budget can possibly occur, to hear the arguments for and the arguments against the merits of every single line item. Hopefully next year will be different. Hopefully everyone in this body will have an explanation available to them for every line item proposed in the budget. People, including members of this minority, are starving for transparency with respect to how their money is going to be spent. The people of New Jersey and everyone in this chamber simply deserve better. Thank you, Mr. Senate President, and thank you, Chairman Sarlo, for all your latitude.